Hey everybody, how you doing? Tonight we're going to be doing a quick start guide on how to set up a ride in the ride calendar for ride leaders. So this is the new Huntington Bike Club website, and on this website, the ride leaders have the ability to enter their own rides. They will have to be approved by a ride coordinator though. The first thing that you have to do is make sure you're logged in. So what we're going to do is up to the top right, which says member login. I'm going to log in as a HBC member. I got to put in my password. You could also have your browser remember the password if you want. Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll log in. At any rate, by the way, just to if you notice, we have storefront tab and arrival GPS. If they weren't there when you weren't logged in, there also will be some additional items under the submenus once you log in. At any rate, we want to post a ride. You're a ride leader, and you would think you'd go to the event calendar, but actually, that's where the ride will be displayed. Where you really want to go is to the control panel. That's where you're going to enter a ride. So I'm going to click up top left corner here on control panel. So on the control panel website, you're going to see events. So what we want to do is click on events. Now, I don't see any rides. Well, there is a search box here. You have choices. You could search by start date. You can title categories, and the categories are predefined by level, etc. You also can sort. Anyway, I'm just going to click on search without filling anything in to start out, and I'm going to see everything. And what you're going to notice if you do that is template, template, template. So you'll see Malachi's template, Frank's template, Larry's. So every ride leader that's set up in the system as a ride leader right now has their own personal template. These are the rides that have been created. We also have the Gold Coast. So this is not just rides; it's also events like the Gold Coast. And so here I have the Bicycle Film Festival. So it's an event calendar versus just a ride calendar. All right, so what we've done, we created these templates, and the reason for that is that there's a lot of tabs that have to be filled in if you try to create a ride on your own. There could be a lot of mistakes made. So what we've decided to do is create these templates, and we pre-filled out most of the tabs for you, so it makes it a lot simpler. So what I'm going to do is start with my template, and you'd find your own template. And then see this column here says maintain. So under the maintain column, we have three icons. The pencil is edit, which you'll be using later. The one's copy and delete. And please don't delete any of these, anything here. So we're going to start out by clicking on copy. And what happens, a dialog box comes up. And there has the Malachi's template and a date. The date's always going to be tomorrow. Today's the 27th, so you see the 28th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the event title here. Now what we're asking everybody to do is to include the ride level and the destination in the title. And since we're in test mode, I'm also going to add tests. So here's one, for example, test B plus ride to Glen Cove. And you can change the start date at this point if you want. I'm going to leave it at default because I'm just doing a video. So I'm going to hit copy event. So now all of a sudden, it's the window went away. Where'd it go? It's in my list here. All right. So now I could find it. Here it is, 128, test B plus ride to Glen Cove. And you can see it still says template. All right, so if you remember in the maintain column, I said that the pencil icon is how we're going to edit this. So there's only really, as I mentioned, three tabs. You see all these green tabs across the top. You'll notice, first of all, that they also are the same ones as the ones that go down. So you have basic info, formatted description, event contact. Same thing across here, basic info, formatted, etc. So the only three you're really concerned about is basic info, formatted description, and emails. All the other ones have been pre-filled out for you. So the way you edit these is two ways. Either you could hit the pencil and these rows here, or you can click along the top, the tab at the top. So let's start with basic info. I'm going to click on this tab. It opens it up for me in edit mode. So what you want to do is put in a short description. And the reason what that is going to do is when it's in the calendar and the list mode, there's a little button that says see more. They'll see this. If it's in grid mode, they mouse over it, they'll see this. So put something in. It doesn't have to be too detailed. And, whatever you want. So I'm just going to say ride the Glen Cove. And I'll say stopping at St. Marcos. All right, just so there's something there. Now, the next thing is real important is the category. Right now it's in template. So I'm going to make this a B+ ride. So I'm going to select B+. Do not change the visibility. We want it to be visible to everyone, but details for members only. So that means if someone is not logged in and not a member, they'll see the ride, but when they click on it, the video has to log in. So date visible. I'm actually going to, I could have changed this when I copied it and probably would have been a good idea if you knew when you wanted to do the ride then, but I'll just show you how to do it. So the finish date, it's a 1-day event, so I don't really need that. I'm going to change this to the weekend. So I'm going to say it's going to be the 31st on Sunday. So what I want to do here is I want to change this because I'm going to make it the 29th. The reason for that is date visible means when it will appear on the calendar. So its start date's the 31st, today's the 27th, I'm putting the 29th, you can put the 30th, whatever, because we want the ride coordinators to look at these rides and approve them. So what happens is when you create your ride, the ride coordinators will get an email. And then they will come back in here, they're going to check everything, make sure you didn't change, like for example, the visibility or something. And once they approve it, they'll change the date visible to today's date. So if I was a ride coordinator and I saw someone created this ride, it looked okay, I'd come in here and change it to the 27th, and it would then show up on the calendar. So you make sure that the panel is completed here, is check, which should be in all these, but just check and make sure that you uncheck somehow and hit save. Now, once again, I can go across the top and click on formatted description, or I could come over here to the pencil and edit that with the same thing. So what we did is we created a form type of thing here with this. You can put in here your mileage, your elevation. So I'm going to say 48 miles. I'm going to say 1,930 feet. And ride with GPS. So the ride with GPS is a link, right? You want to put the link in there if you're going to use the ride with GPS. So over here, you'll see this icon. It says insert link. What I'm going to do is first I got to select the link type. And you can see a whole bunch of different types here. You want external page, and then you have to put the URL in. I have these saved, so you would copy and paste it in there. Now you have the choice of showing it as text, a button, or an image. I'm going to use a button, and then for the button, I'm going to say Robert GPS Glen Cove link and a new window. So I click save, and boom, there's my button. So that's all. That is a linkable button that has the Ride with GPS link in it. Then in the ride description. So once again, I'm going to say ride to Glen Cove. And you might want to say here, hilly, and with once again a stop at St. Marcos. You can put it wherever you want. We gave you plenty of room. Now, one of the other things you have the ability to do, you can put it here in this box. You can put it up on top. I like to put it up here. Actually, is you can also add a photo. And what I've done, I've created a photo album which has pictures of a lot of our common rest stops and start locations. So if you go to this icon here, it says insert a photo. And this is totally optional. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. I've already had a remembered tag. It's called tag, and it's called venues. So if you type in venues and click on show photos, you're going to see all the photos that I put in that photo album. And you can see here Belmont Lake, Breezy Park, Greenlawn Library, because we supposed to have a meeting, Short Beach, whatever. So I found St. Rocco's. So now to display it, you could display it as a link, you could display it as a thumbnail. I'm going to say display as embedded image on the page, and I'm just going to hit select. So there it is. So now I have my picture of St. Rocco's, my mileage, elevation, ride with GPS, and a description. And I'm just going to hit save. It's done. The only other thing you really need to do is skip over the rest. Oh, well, location, once again, I defaulted to Smith Street. However, if you are starting from a different location, you could type that in here on your own. Or if it's one of these that I preset, you can just select it. So if it's Smith Street, it's defaulted to Smith Street. You're not going to do anything. But if it's somewhere else, then you can go to location. Otherwise, on emails, what you're going to want to maybe do here is automatically send an email reminder to all registrants. Do not please use this one to remind all members. You don't want to bother everybody. And you have the choice of sending 1 or 2 emails. And you can pick the date. So obviously that date is not going to work. Let's say it's on the 29th. And you might just want to do one. And then this way, anybody who registers for the ride will get a reminder email. Maybe you want to make it the 30th, the night before, whatever you want to do. And then that's it. That's really it. So now the ride is complete. And so let's take a look at the event calendar. So if you remember, let's take a look first at our information. Test B plus ride to Glen Cove. And it's on 131. Okay, so let's look at the event calendar. And I'm going to go down to 131, and there it is. And remember we said more info. There it says the ride to Glen Cove, stopping at Rocco's. So what we have to do is we have to register for the ride ourselves. Just because with this system, you created the ride and you're the ride leader, you're not automatically registered for the ride. So let's go over here, click on this arrow, and we see our information. There it is, everything we just put. Right, we have our picture, our mileage, our elevation, our GPS, our description. Here's the start, Smith Street, our start location, date and time. This is the Google link. Here's the contact, the ride, which is the ride leader, cell phone, email address, the category, all rules, etc. And capacity, which by the way we have set to 10. As people register, obviously these numbers will change. Okay, so what you want to do is go over here where it says sign up now. So what happens is you're going to see, once again, the same information. You're going to sign up for yourself. The question was raised, only event coordinators see this extra screen, sign somebody else, and we don't want you to do that. Regular members cannot do that. They won't see that. But at any rate, so that looks good. We can see next. So here we have a couple of questions. This first one, it says information is optional. So would you be interested in being in a suite? You don't have to answer. It's optional. You can say yes or no. You can comment, say, oh, maybe, or whatever you want to do. However, please enter your emergency contact name and phone number. That information is required at this time. We're hoping that Ride with GPS eventually will make it easier to first obtain that information. There is a way to get it as a ride leader, but it's a few steps you got to take. So, so we're putting it in here to get that information. Hit next. Okay, so this is our standard waiver, and you're going to agree to that, and hit next. And now let's look everything over, and if you're happy, say complete registration. What will happen? You're going to get an email that you're registered. Now, if you remember, I told you that we set a date visible beyond today's date. So the reason for that was the ride coordinators can approve it. But let me just show you what happens. So let's look at the calendar again real quick. So we'll look at the calendar, and here it is, 31st. So let's go over here, and I'm going to log out. Okay, so now I'm logged out. I'm not event coordinator anybody anymore. And I come over to the calendar. So where'd it go? It's gone. Because don't forget, we set the visible date to be the 29th and say the 27th. So what'll happen is when the ride coordinator goes in, approves the ride, he'll set it back. Hopefully he'll do it the same night. He gets the email, he'll look at it. It takes him a second. Change it to today, and then it will appear here. So that's basically it. So those are the steps involved with setting up a ride. And I hope that works well for you guys, and I hope we have a good season. Thank you.